All right.
Get the show and roll.
All right, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Please take your seats so we can begin the meeting. All right, this meeting is called to order. Good evening and welcome to the City of Boynton Beach City Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. The time is now 6 p.m. Before we proceed any further, I just want to remind everybody of our rules of civility and decorum. As always, speakers must first be addressed by the chair and not interrupt any other speakers. Public comments must be addressed to the board as a whole and not to any particular individual on the dais or in the audience. Personal attacks, insults, disruptive behaviors, and similar behaviors are likewise prohibited. Should you violate these rules, you'll be provided a warning, and should they persist, you may be asked to leave these chambers. With that, our invocation for this evening will be led by Commissioner Woodrow Hay, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by myself. But even before that, let me turn to the city clerk for our roll call. Maylee, if you could do us the honor.
Mayor Penserga?
Here.
Vice Mayor Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner Cruz?
Here.
Commissioner Hay?
Here.
Commissioner Turkin is absent. Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Let's all stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Hay?
Let us pray. Father, we are thankful for the beginning of another year. We pray, Father, that we be one body, one commission, that we will come together and make the decision that is best for this community. We thank you for the celebration of the holidays and our staff that work so diligently to put these events together. We ask now that you bless this commission. We pray that you will bring us together on one accord. We pray that we will move forward and become the city that you would have us to become. Bless the staff and our leaders. Help us to continue to do your will. And Father, we will be so careful to give you all the honor and all the praise. For it's in Jesus' name that we do pray and ask it all. Let every heart say, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, everybody. Let's begin on my right. Commissioner Cruz, if you have any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda, any request?
I have a future request to have a discussion on construction hours near residential areas due to an issue that I had in my district. And I would like that scheduled for the second meeting in February, which would be February 18th.
Okay, so a conversation about construction hours near residential areas.
Yes.
I personally
And all relevant laws and policies about
Okay.
it.
I have no objections to that, colleagues. We good with that?
No.
All right. All right, Commissioner, was that it?
Yes, Mayor, thank you.
All right. Vice Mayor, your turn.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have anything to add.
All right, let me turn to my colleague on my left. Commissioner Hay, do you have any request?
Yes, I do have a request that we have the discussion about the, what do we call it, behavior, the ethics, about how we behave ourselves on this dais as far as the rules and regulation and respect. So I'd like to have that discussion. We have talked about this once in the past, but we, as far as I know, we didn't do anything about it. And I think it's high time we need to have that discussion. So I would like to have that discussion within the next couple of months, either February or March. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, so the request is a discussion on behavior on the dais,
Yes.
either the next meeting or the meeting thereafter.
Right.
Do you want to pick a date or?
Well, with the election coming up, it may be a good idea to have that discussion, I would say before that election is, and so the first meeting in March.
First,
Oh, that was,
so the obvious one left
go ahead,
is,
go ahead.
I was just going to reiterate that we canceled that meeting due to the Palm Beach County days.
That's true. Okay, second meeting.
Wouldn't the second meeting be after the election, if I understand that correctly?
No, I'm talking about February now.
Oh, the second meeting
Yeah,
of,
So February 18th.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, February 18th. I just want to make sure we got a date right.
Right.
Okay, I wrote that down. All right, anything else, Commissioner? on
No,
your
that's
end?
it.
That's it. I do have one request for myself or for us, if my colleagues would indulge. We've talked about the beautification plan in the past. I know staff has put together a draft, and I do want to take it to the public, and I want to have a conversation either today or next meeting about whether it's a task force, a beautification task force, or some sort of committee that we can have so the public can give additional input and they can shape the plan for long-term purposes. But that's a conversation that I'd like to have with all of you if that's something you'd be interested in. The exact details, I'm open to it, to all of you, so.
So kind of like an advisory board,
It-
sort of, or a task, I know you said
It could
task
be,
force.
yeah, so the reason why I said task force is because it would be limited in scope, and an advisory board would be ongoing forever. If the goal is to put together a stronger version of the beautification plan, I don't know if it needs to last forever. Maybe it's something you create, you have the plan, you come back to it maybe X number of months later for it, if
Okay.
necessary.
Sure.
Okay, all right, anything else from my colleagues? All right, thank you so much, everybody. With that, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
We have a motion from Vice
Second.
Mayor and a second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, say aye. Aye. All right, with that, motion passes. The agenda is adopted. Let's turn now to informational items by members of the City Commission. Let me turn to my left this time. Commissioner Hay, if you have any informational items.
Oh, yes, I did mention about the behavior from the dais, but immediately, I think it's only fair to let the members of this dais know why other members are not present. Either, we all have personal business, we all have on trips or whatever, but just not to say anything, I think it's a level of disrespect, and it's not being professional. So when someone is absent, I think we ought to mention what's going on, because there's been a member of this group that has been absent for several times there, and nothing is being said from anybody. And I would like to know something, okay? Secondly, I would like to commend the staff for yesterday's activities in spite of the weather. It was wet and cold, but they still put on an outstanding program. They had all the tents up and the bands and the kids. Everybody was there performing as best they could. And I just really take my hat off to them for doing such a great job in spite of the conditions. So I do want to take my hat off also to our city manager who was there, and by George, you gave a great speech too. Very good. Thank you for being there. So I just say to staff again, well done, well done. The last thing I'd like to say is about the reason that we gathered on yesterday. We came out yesterday and today, celebrating and acknowledging the accomplishments of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yesterday, when we gathered to celebrate and honor his life, we celebrated his legacy, his accomplishments, and Dr. King was a man whose unwavering faith and his courage and vision transformed this entire nation and inspired the world. Dr. King stood as a beacon of hope during one of the most turbulent times in American history. His commitment to justice and injustice and inequality, equality, and his love just continues to guide us as we strive to build a society that truly reflects the freedoms and the unity that we have. I'd like to say that Dr. King's leadership in the civil rights movement changed the course of history. Through peaceful protests, through powerful speeches, and tireless advocacy, he challenged systems of segregation and discrimination. His efforts led to landmark achievement, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which dismantled barriers that had long denied African American basic rights and dignity. These accomplishments are a testament to his belief that nonviolence resistance could overcome hatred and injustice. Beyond the laws he helped to change, Dr. King, awaken the moral conscience of this nation. His words, rooted in Scripture and a deep faith in God, call people of all backgrounds to work together to create a beloved and beautiful community that we live in. He reminded us that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and that the measure of our humanity lies in how we treat the least among us. Dr. King's "I Have a Dream" speech continues to resonate, inspiring generations to keep dreaming and working toward a world where character matters more than color. His dream challenges us today to confront prejudice, confront inequality, and systemic injustice where we find it. And so as we celebrate his legacy, let us also reflect on our responsibility to carry his work forward. The progress we enjoy is built on the foundation he and countless others laid. But the journey is far from over. May we honor Dr. King, not just with words, but thought and actions, by standing for truth, advocating justice, and building bridges of understanding and love. And in closing, Dr. King's life reminds us that greatness is achieved not through power or wealth, but through service to others. His accomplishment inspired us to pursue a better world, a world where every person can live with dignity, equality, and opportunity. Let us recommit ourselves to the vision as we honor his enduring legacy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Commissioner Hay. Let me turn now to Commissioner Turkin. Commissioner, we are under informational items. Okay. All right, so let's go to Vice Mayor, then Commissioner Cruz.
No, Mayor, I do not have any informational items.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Cruz, anything from you?
No informational items for you, thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, with that, we'll move on to the next portion of the agenda, announcements, community and special events and presentations. We have one item here. The City of Boynton Beach is pleased to announce that the 2025 International Kinetic Art Experience in Boynton Beach will be held from noon to 6 p.m. Saturday, February 1st, and from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sunday, February 2nd. Both the outdoor and indoor experiences will highlight meaningful, eye-catching, interactive art by prominent kinetic artists whose work uses movement or perceived movement to achieve its effects. The event will feature works by artists from around the world, reflecting a variety of styles and modes of movement. The indoor installations will be located on the second floor of the Arts and Cultural Center. The outdoor installations are accessed via an easy-to-walk self-guided tour through the downtown Boynton Beach along Ocean Avenue. The indoor portion will close at 4 p.m. on both days. There will be an artist talk symposium, an artisan market, children's art activities, live music, and food trucks throughout the family-friendly cultural experience. This event is free and it is open to the public. So all are invited, and I hope you will have a great time and you'll join us and bring your friends and family. This is one of those events that really make our city stand out. So thank you to all the organizers, to all the staff whose work and volunteers whose work makes this possible. That concludes that portion of the agenda. We're going to move now to public audience. As always, each person will have 3 minutes, and please address your comments to me or to the board as a whole. After we conclude with those in the chambers, we'll go to those online. And then what else? That's pretty much it. All right, as you're speaking, we'll be taking down notes. We do have 2 podiums, and state your name for the record, and you may begin. Go ahead.
I'm David Merker. As I've stated before, I'm a former city commissioner. I'm going to talk about it as very serious subject matter because I spoke to the newspapers, the Sentinel and the Bergen Record, about this. The 2 terms are supermajority and simple majority. And that's for the hiring and the firing of our city manager and our city attorney. This was brought to my attention as they approached me. I did some homework, and the homework I did was Boca Raton, Delray, Ocean Ridge, Lantana, and Lake Worth. We require 4 votes for this. They all require 3. I stepped back and I said, why? Well, once upon a time, and I can't give you exactly when, you, the city commissioner, spoke about this subject. And for whatever reason, it hasn't been spoken about again, yet that was my impression. So I'm going to, because of activities, as Commissioner Hay implied, things are a question. So I suggest very strongly that the City Commission brings this subject matter up and factually, definitely, have a vote on this at the next meeting, commission meeting. This is serious. It's the running of our government. It's issues that are coming up that the idea I was approached. Who else knows about it? So please discuss this issue of supermajority versus simple majority. And I thank you. And by the way, I was there for Martin Luther King Day. I was privileged and honored. And I thank you for speaking again there. You made the people stop and think and say thank you.
Thank you. Next public comment speaker. We do have 2 podiums. We can go back and forth.
Good evening, Mark here at Boynton Beach. I want to address, I want to thank city staff once again for yesterday's activities, but I think we can do better. We've done better in the past. We used to have an MLK dinner on Sunday evening where we honored citizens that continued Dr. King's teachings and ideals and strive for those in excellence in various areas, whether they be academics, athletics, political, business, etc. And that was impressive because you got to know that citizens right here in Boynton Beach were continuing that legacy. One of the best speeches I ever heard in my life was given at an MLK dinner by Willie Gibson Jr. He was being honored for his outstanding contributions in athletics. The man's in 5 Sports Hall of Fame, but you'd never know it because he never brags about it. That night he talked about faith, he talked about family, and he talked about being a positive contribution to society. We need more people like Willie Gibson. And it's good that we used to honor them. I think we need to go back to that. The other thing is, we used to go on Monday morning at 7 a.m. and have a march on MLK Boulevard from Railroad Avenue to Seacrest. And along that, people would pray, people would talk, people would sing. I remember myself, the late, great Ed Harris, and the late, great Pastor Cheney, along with Chief Imler. Ed turned to me and he says, Mark, do you remember that old Sam Cooke song? You know, time's gonna change. I said, yeah, I don't remember all the words. He goes, well, I'm gonna lead it, but I need you to join in. Well, Reverend Hay joined in, and he sounds a lot better than I do. But we all joined in, and we had over 100 people singing that as we marched down the street. Our young people need to know about Dr. King. They're not finding out. Our citizens are not being appreciated for the ones that carry on that legacy. So I urge you to do these two things. One other thing. Our city's been going through some black eyes, if you will, based on behavior. And all I ask is that everybody pray for this city, because I can tell you firsthand, prayer works. It works better than anything else. And we need to pray for this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Cindy Falco Di Corrado. I did want to give a kudos to another day that was definitely a wonderful day. We received a new commander-in-chief. That would be Donald J. Trump as our leader and our forerunner. Kudos to him. And as he aligned up with what Martin Luther King said, the same agendas. Let's treat each other with respect. Let's honor each other. It's been a real lack in this community. I also wanted to bring up a few more things. It is not a conspiracy theory when truth is exposed. In February, before I was physically attacked, I brought up MAPS. Do you remember that? Minor attracted persons, adults sexually attracted to children. Well, for your information, many might not know that the ex-city manager, David Scott, who came to our meetings, he was the gentleman that used to come in the bow ties. Well, from this, an article, and I quote, Scott uploaded 31 images and videos of child sexual abuse materials and attempted to buy 6,000 videos and pictures of children. He now has been convicted. I have to ask, does anyone do background checks, inquire about character, work ethics, check criminal records, check organizations they're involved in? Because this man is a convicted pedophile. And many of you sitting on this dais were backing him. And some of them in the audience were backing this pedophile to be our city manager. I'm appalled. Let's not forget when the mayor was running as a candidate that he wanted the LGBTQ candidates from the Victory Fund to be more candidates here even locally and everywhere, which is a homosexual organization. People, we need to wake up. Do your due diligence. Those elected will be making decisions that will affect your life and mine. And while we are on the subject, let's discuss again the attack on me by Sergeant Jean. 3 times I told him not to touch me, in which you all were witnesses, and the chief of police alluded to nothing happening. I was in physical therapy for 3 months, and I'm still suffering in my shoulder from what he did to me. I would also like to thank whomever's opened the town square investigations and captured the pedophile and shut down the orgies and sexual perversions at the Colony Hotel. Thank you, whoever you may be. Hashtag, save the children, don't rape the children. And what about all these shootings? Looks like Boynton Beach is getting to be a place to come and get shot. You know that it is even higher now, the shootings here in Boynton Beach, than it is in Riviera Beach. What is going on? I know people love to fluff and puff about how wonderful everything's, but I'm telling you, it's becoming scary to live in this town, to be attacked by police officers, by having shootings. 1 person died. This was just a couple of days ago. And I hear of shootings every day. This gentleman was talking about even in the daytime last time he was at the podium that someone was shot. What is going on? I really want to know why we, the people, are not being protected. And again, I want to give kudos to our great president, Donald J. Trump, and things will change. No more the same old regime. Thank you.
All right, next speaker. State your name for the record and begin when you're ready.
Good evening. My name is Jim Sizik. I live at 15th Street in Leisureville. I wanted to speak on a subject that's not too close to my heart, but I don't understand it. I was told that several years ago the CRA was able to have a couple of civilian liaisons that worked in concert with decisions that were made. Way back when, I'm told that Joe Costello's, during his time frame, those civilians were released from the board. And I just don't understand in these times of transparency and full disclosure and trying to give our citizenry a glimpse into what's going on in our communities and a fair say, a fair representation from the resident community of how decisions are made, that they were excluded from it. I understand further that this was several years ago, and a determination was made when the CRA released those 2 civilian at-large members from it, and I believe it was 2, that going forward or in the future, they can never come back. I don't know where the legality wraps around that. I don't know why it should be that a very sound principle cannot be reabsorbed back in, find a way. Every year I see statutes in the statutes in the state bent, realigned to make sense with the current culture and with the mores of the people that are clamoring for change. I don't understand why a concept like this would be overlooked and not fought for. So I would ask, where we have the ability to have an open discussion, or for the commission to maybe sanction a consideration that we try to bring these back. If there's a legal reason, then I stand down on that. But it just seems that it's a convenience item that should be offered back to the people so that we have somebody out there representing us within the CRA. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Members,
Oh,
good evening.
the mic, sir.
Sorry,
There we go.
is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
State your name
Sorry.
for the record and you may begin.
My name is Bob Taylor, and I'm here to chat a little bit about the proposed increases in the pickleball fees. And first of all, I am a pickleball player. I'm also an instructor. I've been around this sport now for a lot more years than I like to think about. And the one thing that I've found is the fact that pickleball is now the fastest growing sport in the United States. There's absolutely no question that the venues that we have in Boynton have really gone a long way towards the promotion of the sport. What I am concerned about is the fact that the sport caters primarily to individuals age 55 and over. It also caters to individuals a lot younger, but the predominant number of people playing pickleball work on a fixed income basis. And I think if you think about the fact that they're now coping with groceries, gasoline, property insurance increases, so forth and so on, if you go ahead and increase these fees, it's going to add to that financial burden. Now, there's also another important aspect of pickleball, and that is the socialization. This, for many people, is the only way that these folks get an opportunity to have physical exercise and also to socialize. So again, by increasing the fees to a level that's not supportable by a fixed income person is going to drive individuals out of this sport. It's also going to contribute to people not wanting to join the venues because there are other competing venues in the city that are a lot cheaper. So again, I would ask you very, very sincerely, and on behalf of these people, give them an opportunity to continue to enjoy the sport. First of all, and most importantly, it's a low overhead sport. When an individual walks in, they pay $50. Currently, there is no incremental overhead. That money goes directly to your bottom line. So what I would be doing, having been in finance for over 35 years, I would think of a way to attract more people. You can drive the cost down, and you're making utilization of a space that otherwise would not be utilized, and it's also generating revenue for the city. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you would seriously reconsider those increases.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Taylor, I just want to let you know, and I'm not sure if you're here with anyone else, that there is an agenda item pertaining to this.
Right.
So if you want to stay for that presentation, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, 1 second. All right, begin when you're ready.
Mike Fitzpatrick, 175 Southwest 2nd Street. Just to answer the former speaker's question, there were 7 members on the CRA, and two of them were Woodrow Hay and Buck Buchanan. They were dropped by scheming by Mayor Jerry Taylor because there was a vote to bulldoze the old high school, and he wanted CRFA's funds to fund it, and it lost 4-3. And I think the vote was Woodrow Hay, Buck Buchanan, myself, and Joe Costello not to bulldoze, and the other three commissioners voted. So if it had been just a commission, it would have been a 3-2 vote to bulldoze. So it's like, well, we can't have that. So he got rid of the then member Woodrow Hay and Buck Buchanan. What I came here to speak for tonight is former Public Utilities Director Colin Groff during city commission meetings used to motion me over in the back of the old city chambers and whisper earnestly that he was working to save Kids Kingdom. A few months before that, on an inspection tour of the Kids Kingdom playground with Jeff Lurbergard, former Director of Public Works, Jeff turned to me and said in a hurt voice, "Mike, I'm not the enemy." And yet in the end, Groff and Livergood tore down a kid's paradise to put up a parking lot. Before I was defeated in my reelection bid in 2016, Isram developers had promised me the mangroves behind McDonald's on Federal Highway would be given to the city. After my defeat, the new commissioner, Justin Katz, picked up the banner and a couple of years later made an announcement that Isram had agreed to give the mangroves to the city. I checked at 5:23 p.m. According to the Palm Beach County Properties Appraiser, Isram still owns the mangroves. So color me hopeful but skeptical when developer Manny Mato soothingly tells an outgoing mayor that he won't bulldoze the Andrews house for at least a year. My question is, how is staff doing on confirming this statement? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Renstein of Northeast 2nd Street. Good evening, council members and fellow neighbors. I'm here today as a deeply concerned resident who's experienced a second alarming situation on Northeast 2nd Street that no one should ever have to face. My home has been struck by 5 bullets. When? 15 days ago. I'm here to share another story, not just for my family's safety, but for the safety of our entire community for the last 10 years, a full decade. Let me give you a quick summary of gun violence incidents on Northeast 2nd Street. Shooting of an unarmed cyclist January 6 at 5:40 p.m., 15 days ago during the day. Victim is 36, shot 4 times, 5 shots to the property I reside at with 1 bullet going through the living room. Second incident, fatal shooting at a gathering. January 19th at 1:40 a.m., 2 days ago during the early morning on Sunday. Victim was 31, killed, and 5 others injured. Vehicles were shot, and I'm sure other properties were damaged. Both incidents highlight the escalating issue of gun violence in the area, putting the safety of residents and visitors at risk. Immediate action is necessary to address these concerns and improve public safety. What are you doing? Specifically, the mayor and commissioner for our district. Did you know no one reached out on your behalf to speak to the residents? You do realize that affordable homes is going to have 0 value if the next street over is considered a war zone. Do you honestly feel safe in Boynton Beach? Let me put it this way. I live half a mile from City Hall. A bullet can travel 1.5 miles. That is 3 times the distance of City Hall. A stray bullet can easily, if shot at 30 to 45 degree angle, can injure anyone that's here today in this room. Think about the events you host first Friday of the month, Pirate Fest, and other social gatherings. If a stray bullet ends up hitting anyone at those events, you realize the sovereign immunity that the government has shall be questioned, because at this point, it's now considered reckless endangerment by the city. I have spoken with Candace, the Community Standards Director. She gave me her card at the last meeting and contacted me within the first hour the next day. She went above and beyond. I was also able to speak with the captain briefly a few hours after. He made the time and effort. Safety is in jeopardy. My family no longer feels safe in our home. Property damage. No one's going to pay for the damage. Insurance goes up. Property taxes go up, yet the market value goes down, and we're getting depreciation values every time we get an appraisal done. Community impact. This This isn't just about my house. Gunfire in our neighborhood poses a threat to everyone. It endangers lives, drives down property values, and tarnishes the reputation of our community. We cannot wait for another tragedy to act. I'm asking the council to stand with homeowners like me who simply want to feel safe in their homes. Together, we can work to restore peace and security in our community. Thank you for your time and attention we need on this matter. ASAP. All of us could be endangered. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, I'm going to ask if you could please connect with our Assistant Chief to get your information, and we'll discuss. All right, thank you. All right, next speaker, Ms. Oyer.
Yep.
Thank you. When you're ready.
Susan Oyer. So I'm going to ask some questions on the Andrews house. Did the owner withdraw the demo permit yet? That came up at the last commission meeting, and I'm, echoing some of the things Tom Warnke said in his email to you. What's the status of the physical survey showing utilities, easements, and the need for variances after the rotation? We brought up, Mike sent you a wonderful presentation showing we don't need the variances, so is that still something being discussed? What's going on? What is the status of the developer giving the house to the city so it can be moved? It needs to come into the city hands. Also, and this is nothing on Maylee, I've requested now twice for the public records request that has not been filled, asking for that report that Richard over here mentioned during the Historic Resources Presentation Board meeting on January 13th. They said there was a report between the fire marshal and I'm assuming Amanda and whoever else. Well, then later in the meeting, it came out that it's an email. But I've gotten responses from Maylee twice that they can't find anything. So I believe her more than I believe what's going on in the planning department. Is there really a report or an email from the fire marshal stating that these buildings have to be 20 feet apart? Because she can't find it. It can't be produced. So if you can't produce it, does it really exist? And then what are you basing your decisions on? So that's something that you all need to address, and I truly believe she's done her job and the rest of the clerk's office have, because I've known them for years. They're fabulous. They're not screwing around. So somebody's lying. I want to know where that lie's coming from, that you guys are telling that poor new guy, Richard, who's now this is like his hazing cycle with the city to come have to deal with this project with a bunch of pissed off residents. But where is that report or where is that email? Why is it not public? And then I'm also going to say I'm not the only one who follows this. I get 2 emails every time anything goes on in this city. And I want to say thank you to the city manager and to Commissioner Turkin for responding to my questions. But there's been 12 shootings in 19 days in this city. 12 shootings in 19 days. 3 people have died. 2, of course, were a murder-suicide at a nursing home / assisted living. And there's potentially a 4th person who's in critical condition who could be dying at some point this week from what happened on Sunday. And I should also point out that I'm also on Lantana Raw, because I'm friends with the person who runs it. There's bullet casings that have been found in people's yards and front porches in Lantana. There's been no shootings in Lantana. They're assuming they came from here. So when, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the other gentleman's name, was talking about how far these bullets travel. Apparently they're going to Lantana. So it's not just in Boynton, and do something. And this is not my usual complaint about my neighbor, but this is everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, my name is Charles Hunt, 1330 Northwest 1st Court in Rolling Green. First of all, I would like to thank you all for looking into our case in Rolling Green, where some of us are being discriminated against by Boynton Beach. Whereas illegal liens are being put toward our homes, we can't afford, all of us basically live on fixed incomes. We can't afford these liens. We've been asking you for months for help. And I hope we're on your agenda soon. We strongly feel that you have given our city management staff too much power where you no longer can control them. Therefore, we are going through what we are going through now. Me, as a retiree from the military, senior citizen, I can't fight these people when you've given them too much power. They've sent people, they've sent the same guy that illegally wrote me up to my property to walk around my property taking pictures. That's illegal. And I am planning on doing something about it now, since I'm getting no help. We once had a superb senior manager. She was so good, she cared about the people. But now we have a management manager who don't seem to care anything about the people. He's just out for his dollars or whatever, seems as though. Please, help us save our homes.
All right, next speaker.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Reedy. I was going through my emails and I came across one from the website LinkedIn. And I was very pleased to see that our Office of Economic Development was handing out grants to 23 up-and-coming businesses. So on that list of up-and-coming businesses was Joey's Bakery and Keisha's Cakes. And it crossed my mind that, gee, maybe those two little entrepreneurships would like to be located in two historic homes in our little district down the street. So I don't know if anyone has connected the dots. That's one of my favorite things to do, is connect the dots. Perhaps they would be interested in being located in one or other of the two historic homes we'd like to see down the street in our little heritage district. I think it's good to support up-and-coming businesses, but I'd also like you to encourage supporting your existing businesses. As an example, I think it's well known that I am friends with Valerie Pleasanton of the Ace Hardware. You might not be aware that her business is down $50,000 last year because of the construction on Boynton Beach Boulevard. So I don't know if that's a possibility of thinking about your existing businesses down Boynton Beach Boulevard, but I bet she's not the only one that's hurting. You know, we bristle at being compared to Delray, but when Delray gets major site plan modifications from developers, they would add paying and moving for an historic home to the conditions of approval. So if you have an upcoming major site plan modification, that might be a way to help us move the Andrews House, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers that would like to speak? This is last call. Just form a line so I am aware that you're interested in speaking. All right, I see one more person.
Good evening. My name is Linda Willamine, and I live in Sterling Village here in the city. And I'm here concerning, and I'm a little bit nervous, okay, about what's on the agenda tonight, which is the Recreation Parks Division fee schedule. And I'm here to advocate possibly when you're looking at increasing the fees to take into consideration senior citizens and their budgets. I realize that we just recently got a little Social Security raise of 2.5, but I noticed that some of the fees were higher than 2.5%. And so that makes a little bit of a hardship for some people. I know there were a meeting a couple of weeks ago where a lot of people were sharing with you their concerns about the pickleball. I'm here because I participate in the Aquasize program, which I'm waiting for the system to get up and running again because they had some heater problems. I guess what I really wanted to say to you is that we really love Boynton Beach, and we love it because it and I want it to be a senior-friendly city. Okay, it's really important for senior citizens to stay active. You know what they say now, sitting is the new smoking. And so I think if people are discouraged financially from participating in the pickleball or the Aquasize program, that would really be a shame. And I think if there was a resident, non-resident, and a senior rate, that would say to seniors that Boynton Beach is senior-friendly. I know we have 840 units where I live, and I know there's a lot of senior citizen complexes here, and I just think it would be to our benefit to, or the city's benefit, to be user-friendly, senior user-friendly. And so I guess I just wanted to share my passion with you, and thank you. Boynton Beach is a great place. We have a great city here, so thank you for everything and for listening today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Linda, and we appreciate you coming. All right, I see no one else in the audience. Oh, there's one more. I'm sorry. Come on up, sir. And again, if you do have any interest in speaking, just form a line so I'm aware of that. You may begin whenever you're ready.
I just want to say good evening. My name is David Hayes. I live on 1626 North Seacrest Boulevard. It's been a while since this my first time I'm being in a setting as this. And I would like to think that you guys in the white hot seat tonight. I think I'd rather be out here. But I don't want to be another complaint or complainer. The old people used to have a saying, it takes a community to raise a child. I would scratch that farther and say, we should be together as a community. I don't want to be another complainer. I would like to say, I'm a retired widower, and I don't have a job, but I would be willing to give myself to the city for whatever I can do. I believe we need to work together. And when we look at other cities known for different things, I ask myself, I said, what is Boynton, what put us on the map? What are we known for? What are we known for? I think the definition for integrity is moral excellence. When we have morality, when we can be concerned for one another, care for one another. The problem we have, not just in America, but the world, is immorality. I think the world is full of immorality now. When morals are thrown out the window, then anything happens, anything goes. And I would like to feel like that I'm a part of the community. I'm a part of Boynton. I wasn't born here in Florida, but I was born in Georgia. But I've been here practically just about all my life. And I would like to feel like I'm a part of something bigger than myself. So I'm here to say, here I am, whatever I can do. You know, I see things in Boynton that could be done. And I don't have a job. I volunteer to do whatever it is. One main concern I have is on Northeast 14th and Seacrest, there's no traffic light there. And I don't think there's ever been one. And I'm very concerned. I walk, the majority of the places where I have to go. And I've seen countless times where people almost have an accident, even crossing the street. I'm afraid. It's dangerous. So that's one of my concerns, why we don't have a traffic light on 14th and Seacrest. And as I said before, growing up, I was like maybe part of the problem. But today, I'm more mature. I would like to be a part of the solution. So that's my thing. I wish we could, as a community, work together. Growing up in Georgia, we didn't have to lock our doors.
Sir, thank you so much for your comments. It's only 3 minutes per person, but we appreciate everything you've said. Okay. I do have one ask of you. You mentioned about volunteer opportunities. If you could leave your contact information, and if one of our staff members could connect with Mr. Hayes.
Yes.
Could just connect with him and get his information, please.
All right.
Thank you. All right. And last call. No one else? Let me check online. I see no one online. With that, public audience is now closed. We're going to proceed to the administrative.
Mayor,
yes.
if I may.
Sure, Commissioner Turkin.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to share, I had the opportunity to go to the Delray Historic Society, and I highly encourage my colleagues, if you haven't been there, to check it out, as well as staff. I think it'd be important as we tackle the Andrews House for you guys to get a visual and a vision of what could be. I was very impressed. It was awesome. You know, Tom Warnicke basically had to kick me out because I was just enjoying my time, you know, in the museum so much. And those houses are very close together. And so I think there is a good opportunity for us to do something similar. So it was great. I highly recommend my colleagues to go see it as well.
All right, thank you. And Commissioner Hay, did you have your hand up earlier? Go ahead.
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment about what Mr. Mike Fitzpatrick brought up. You have a good memory, my friend, in terms of what happened with that old schoolhouse. And I do recall that vividly. And I vote against tearing it down along with the rest of my colleagues at that time. And look at the facility that we have now because of that. It came down to just one vote of tearing that down. And now we have a facility unlike any other in the county. So I do support having a hybrid CRA board, the two citizens, because with those two citizens, we got an additional perspective that gave us additional information. And I think it worked then, and it can work again now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hay. Anything else on my side, on my right side? All right, with that, we are going to move forward with the next portion of the agenda. The next item under administrative is advisory board appointments. I've opened the list here if somebody wants to put that on the screen, but under Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, there is one applicant, Sol Bath. And the nomination goes to me, and I do nominate Sol Bath to that position. May I have a second to that?
Second.
I don't know who was first.
Doesn't matter. You can give it to Commissioner Hay is fine.
All right, Commissioner Hay made the second. May I have a motion, all those in favor of the nomination, say aye. Aye. Anyone oppose the nomination? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations to Sol Bath. We have no applicants for the Art Advisory Board, so if anyone's interested, this is why I'm mentioning it as well. For Building Board of Adjustments and Appeal, we have one applicant. This nomination goes to me as well. This is the regular position to replace another individual whose term has expired. I nominate Jordan Sperling to the Building Board of Adjustment and Appeals. Is there a second to this nomination? Second from Commissioner Turkin. All those in favor of the nomination say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. Education and Youth Advisory Board, no applicants. Historic Resources and Preservation Board, which is quasi-judicial, no applicant. Recreation and Parks Board, we have another opening. Senior Advisory Board, another opening with no applicants. So if you're listening, these are some opportunities for you to get involved in our city and take part in these advisory boards. Thank you so much. The next item under Section 5 is Community Support Funds. I have one request here from, if I remember correctly, Commissioner Cruz. All right, Commissioner Cruz, can you tell me what it's for and which organization?
Organization is Young in Faith, and I'm just using $2,000 from my community support funds.
All right, is there a second to that request? A second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of approving the request, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, moving on to consent agenda. Take a moment to look through it one more time. Is there anything under consent that my colleagues would like to pull? Nothing? May I have a motion to approve the entirety of consent agenda?
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Turkin, a second from Vice Mayor. All those in favor of the motion to approve the entirety of consent agenda, say aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to consent bids and purchases over $100,000. Are there any items under this section that my colleagues would like to pull? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the entirety of consent bids and purchases?
Second.
Motion came from Commissioner Hay. The second came from Vice Mayor Kelly. All those in favor of the motion to approve the entirety of bids, consent bids and purchases over 100K, say aye.
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 Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. That brings us next to the regular agenda 10A. 10A pertains to the discussion regarding recreation parks fees and approval of proposed resolution R25-029, amending the current Parks and Recreation Parks Division fee schedule, specifically the pickleball and pool admittance fees previously approved on November 19, 2024, which was Resolution 24-290. We have a staff presentation, and whenever you are ready, Mr. Derulo, take it away.
All right, good evening, Mr.
evening.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, staff, and members of the public. Just have a quick presentation for you guys, particularly as it pertains to the fees of pickleball and pool. I know it's been a hot topic, so I wanted to touch on a couple of the adjustments and some of the reversions we made to make sure we were listening to the community and getting those rates where they need to be. All right. So first and foremost, the philosophy and the implementation plan for us. Of course, in recreation, we're always looking to meet the recreational needs of the public. We do this by surveying, as well as taking feedback from folks come to our facility, as well as various other channels, social media, as well as many others that we use to get out to the community. We try to provide services at a reasonable fee that covers partial or full costs of operating that program or that facility that is taking place at. And lastly, we want to make sure that our residents are looked after first and foremost. So resident fees paying slightly reduced fees compared to non-residents. So first, we will talk about the tennis center. The tennis center, we tried to keep all resident fees for the most part the same. There were some slight adjustments to the ball machine rental to be more in line with some of these other communities surrounding us, the fees that they're charging for that. As well as in the increase in electrical costs, we had to do a slight increase on the light fee that we have at the facility there as well. Annual permits for tennis players have remained the same for both residents and non-residents. We introduced a new annual permit for pickleball players, our regular players, that come quite often to have them pay less of a fee by purchasing a pass that covers them for the entirety of the year. So I put a little asterisk next to that because we actually prorated it slightly for this year because the fees went into effect on January 1. So instead of the $250 for residents, it's actually gonna be $200. And for non-residents, it's gonna be $300 for this year. And then shifting into next fiscal year, it'll move to this pay scale here, this fee structure. Adult leagues as well, there was no change in any of the fees there. So as you can see on the right-hand side, we just introduced some non-resident fees to help balance the books a little bit at this facility. Secondly, we have John Denson Pool.
Can we talk about the, sorry, can I?
Absolutely,
Please.
Vice Mayor.
Absolutely.
Sorry, thank
Hi.
you, Fabian.
No
I
problem.
had a quick question. Can you go
Sure.
back to the pickleball slide real quick?
Absolutely.
Because I know there was an article in the paper that, in particular mentioned this $250 fee, and it made it sound like that was
Yes.
going to be like per visit or whatever, and I think there was a lot of misinterpretation in that
Sure.
article. So is it, for the $250, it's unlimited for the year? They can come
Correct.
one time, or they can come 100 times?
Correct.
365 times if they really are into pickleball and all they pay is the
Absolutely.
$250.
Yes, yes, that is correct. To clarify, because yes, I know an article came out. This $250 is not a requirement to play pickleball at the facility.
Right.
This is an additional offering that we have in addition to the punch pass or just the standard drop-in rate. If you're looking to play often and not wanting to pay every single time you make a visit to the facility. So as mentioned, it will be $200 for residents. This time, it gives you all access to playing indoor as well as outdoor pickleball at any of our facilities, as well as advanced registration dates too. So you'll be able to reserve your court a little bit further out than if somebody is just paying for the day pass.
Perfect. And then the $50 pass, which didn't change, you can pay for 24 visits and it's for the
Correct.
year or whenever you use them.
That is correct, yes. So we reverted that one to the original fee. So I know there was a change made in the original proposal. We went back to the $50 for 24 visits.
Okay, and then just kind of recapture that with non-residents.
Correct.
That's really, I feel like that's kind of sometimes where we can recapture some of that losses in non-residents as opposed to in our, from our residents. So we have a daily, you can come as you want to, and that's
Correct.
$5, no change. Then we have a 24 visit pass for $50. And then if you're really into pickleball, you can pay $250. And that's something that we've added because it actually provides a much bigger savings for people who come more than 10 times. It's more than a certain amount of times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the cost of
Full
5
year.
punch passes will cover the entirety of the year, essentially.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect, thank you. I just didn't want to move on.
No problem. Thank you for that
Thank you so
clarification, I
much.
appreciate
Mhm.
it. All right, and for the pool, another slight adjustment from the last time, the last submitted fee schedule. So we are going to keep youth free. So all patrons under the age of 13 will be able to come to the pool for free, take part in any of our programming, swim lessons, water aerobics, anything of the such, without a problem, as long as they're accompanied, of course, by an adult. There were some slight increases on the adult prices, as well as we introduced non-resident fees for the first time there as well. The water aerobics class did see a slight increase as well. We did market research. We still are the lowest in the area. A lot of places, for example, Boca is charging about $90 a month for folks to take part in their water aerobics programs, as well as we have the Palm Beach County charging about $6 per visit. Wellington charging about $4 per visit. So this gets us kind of in line with these other communities that are offering similar fitness classes. But outside of that, a majority of the fees remain the same, with the introduction of a non-resident fee for youth from outside of the city. And that is all. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Turkin, your hand was up.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, I just want to thank the city manager for meeting with some of the residents in High Point, and you, Fabian, for following up with those residents regarding the pickleball field fees.
Absolutely.
So can we go back to the slide where it has the old fee? All right, so where it says new fee, no change, that is because this commission decided to prevent that change from happening.
That is correct.
So as it sits today from the last meeting, we have decided there is not going to be a change moving
correct.
forward. And now what we're looking at is the option for these individual passes.
Yes. They have an additional option for an annual pass now.
Okay, so the fees are going to remain the same. And
Correct.
then there's an option for the individual pass.
Absolutely.
The other thing I think that we should talk about, and it doesn't have to be tonight, is having the city look at where we can establish some more pickleball courts. I know we've focused a lot on that already. It's a high demand sport, as we've heard earlier from public comment. So I think there's definitely an opportunity there, and we have that park impact fee for a reason. So, there's definitely a funding source, to look at for that. The other thing, I remember maybe a year or two ago at a meeting prior to our strategic plan, we had discussed the oceanfront park rate increases. And one of the things that I had mentioned was establishing a rate for seniors. And so there is precedent as we look at this fee schedule, as it was mentioned earlier in public comment, we have resident, we have non-resident, and then we have senior residents. So my proposal to my colleagues is looking at maybe having a senior resident fee for all of our parks and rec. I think, we've done it for the beach. And so I think, it'd be good to be standard across the board and offer that, as it was mentioned earlier, to show our community that we are senior friendly. And, money's always an issue, but I think like Vice Mayor Kelly had mentioned, you can always make up for that, from non-residents and other revenue sources. So, I don't know what the average revenue we get from pickleball is. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, but I think if we slided that source of revenue, towards non-residents to help our seniors, I think, that's a no-brainer for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm okay with. I'm glad that we prevented the change from the fee schedules, but I would like to look at adding an additional column for our senior residents throughout the board. And then also, looking at where we can establish more pickleball courts. I know there's a lot of new development in the city, and a lot of those plans include pickleball courts, but that's not, for public use. That's for those tenants, those residents that are moving in there. Yes, so that's all I got. And again, thank you, Fabian. Thank you, City Manager,
Pleasure.
for helping out the residents of High Point last weekend.
No problem.
Thank you. Any other questions, Commissioner Hay?
Oh, yes, would you go back to the pool shop?
Yes.
I want to say to you, Fabian, you got me off the hot seat, so I owe you a
my job.
popsicle at least.
Yes,
But
yes.
thank you for keeping that the way it is for the children 3 and under, and youth 4 to 12. The parents of those kids, I know it's a little bit of money, but to someone who doesn't have it, it's a lot of money.
Yes.
And they need all the help that they can get. So I thank you for figuring that out to keep it where it was and where it is. So job well done.
Thank you.
And I may have you. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Come to the community meeting.
Definitely.
And say a few words. So thank you again.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues?
Yes, I had conversation with some residents last week regarding the tennis courts and pickleball courts as well. I do want to thank you guys for making those updates and for creating that annual fee, and I do support creating the specific senior resident fee schedule. I'm just wondering, is there a time frame that we can start looking into that? Because if we're approving this today, then it kind of might fall through the cracks going forward.
Sure. That's something we can start looking into immediately. A lot of our fees already have a senior rate tied to them, for example, pool entry and so on. But we could look at all of our fees holistically and see if we can have something set up for all of them like that. That's not a problem.
Thank you, and I'm glad to see that we're not increasing the fees. We're going back on that. I think it's something that's positive, and thank you to staff for providing that annual fee that we didn't have before for pickleball. I think it's going to be important. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, sorry, I
yes,
have
Vice
one
Mayor.
question. Fabian, when I'm looking at the pool schedule, I just want, just for clarification's sake.
Sure.
So we have the daily senior rate, right? Let's
Yes.
just talk about seniors since, right, we can do it with teens or seniors, but, and then we have the water aerobics charge. If they are participating in water aerobics, do they pay for the entry fee and water aerobics, or are we, or?
Just the program fee.
So,
they would
okay,
pay.
so if
Yes.
they come in and they just want to swim and then they go, oh, there's a water aerobics class, do they then pay for?
Just the
services
difference,
they want?
yeah, so we
Okay.
don't double charge anybody that comes to the facility.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No
All
problem.
right. Before we move forward, I just want to make sure there's clarity in the board that there is consensus to create a senior resident column for these fees. Is that the consensus? Just to make sure I understand everyone's position. Vice Mayor, you were to say something?
Well, the pool has a senior discount that's for the daily use. So I guess it would just be, as far as the pickleball and tennis center is what we would be looking at.
Yes.
And I guess we could look at other cities and see what what they do.
Come to you next, Commissioner.
But yeah, I support looking at what other cities are doing, and if there is that precedent or if they're just adjusting it accordingly, so.
I
I'm
support
open.
that as well. I want to make sure we're competitive. I want to give you the leeway to do your research, and you can come back with some more information for us.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Turkin, you had your hand up earlier.
Yeah, wanted to clarify, looking at everything, right? Harvey Oyer Boat Ramp, the pool, pickleball courts, tennis, Hester Center, all those, providing that senior-specific discount rate, across the board.
Absolutely, will do. We'll take a look at that. No problem. Thanks.
Council?
With regard to the resolution tonight, do we want to pass it that will put these in place and then add the senior as a future item
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yes.
Sure.
rather than tabling it?
Right.
Okay.
I did want to request, last thing, because it's relevant. I know we've talked about and that was part of my meeting last week with some residents. It was the condition of the tennis courts and the pickleball courts. And I think that some of the comments that were made were like, we're staying on top of it, but it appears that we're using short-term fixes rather than long-term improvements that are gonna cost us more time in the long term. So that's one thing I wanted to look. I know we've discussed this before, and maybe for next meeting, if we could come back with an update of where we are with the process, or maybe somebody send me an email.
Sure.
Because
I
I
can
don't
give
know
you a
what's
call
going
if you'd
on
like,
with-
and we can talk about it. Absolutely, no problem.
Anything else from my colleagues before we turn to public comment?
There's no public comment
Not
on
on
this
this item.
unless you want to allow it.
Sorry, one last thing, because it was part of the conversation. When we talked about the prior fees, we talked about expiration dates and how people who play tennis and pickleball would have like a package deal, right? Where it would expire within 18 months or 24 months, and now if it's changed. Do you know if at this time we have an expiration date for the 50 pass for?
The passes run at the same time as the fiscal year. Yeah, so October 1 start and then September 30th would end. And that's a big part of the reason why we decided to prorate for this year too. Since the fees went in effect January 1, we dropped them down about 20 to 25% depending on if you're a resident or non-resident because of that.
So if somebody purchases a pass now, they would need to use the pass by when?
By the end of September.
Okay.
Yes, yes. And all of our passes too. So same with boat ramp, same with the beach pass, things like that. They all run according to the fiscal year.
All right, thank you. Last call from my colleagues. Anything else? All right, so I know it's going to come back up anyways. We've heard some public comment earlier this evening, and there will be another opportunity when it comes back. If there's nothing else from my colleagues, may I have a motion to approve proposed resolution R25-029? I heard a motion from Commissioner Turkin and a second from Commissioner Hay. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. And Fabian, thank you for your presentation, and I look forward to
Thank
the
you.
update. The next item will be led by Andrew Rozwadowski. Good evening. I hope I pronounced your name right. This item is the procurement policy update and a roadmap to future codification of our city's new procurement code. This is a conversation that's been ongoing for quite some time, so I appreciate you bringing this forward.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, and City Attorney. Thank you all. My name is Andrew Rozwadowski. I am the Purchasing Director, and I'm also a proud resident of District 4 for the City of Boynton Beach, so I'm happy to be here. I just want to take a second and read in our new mission statement that basically we developed. We are unwavering in our commitment to promoting integrity, transparency, and fairness in every step of the procurement process. The dedication is the cornerstone of our mission. We strive to maximize value for our community by fostering competitive opportunities for local businesses, ensuring compliance with regulations, and delivering exceptional service to our stakeholders through collaboration, planning, and innovation. We aim to support the city's goals while enhancing the economic vitality of our region. So before you, we have our agenda that we're going to kind of go over. I'd ask that you could please hold your questions until the end. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm a little sick right now, but basically I want to kind of go over our current procurement policy. So the current policy was last updated on October 1st, 2022. The policy had outdated language and contradictions. It references state statutes that are not applicable to the city. The tolerance levels were inconsistent, and the exemptions were limited based on best practices. These issues were causing a misunderstanding and noncompliance with staff and the policy. Just kind of to give you a little background of what I updated. Basically, the titles, some title changes, updated the capital purchase threshold from 1,000 to 5,000. We added some, like I said, some exemptions based on best practices, added more definitions for clarity to the policy to basically avoid the confusion. We added some Florida statutes that are applicable to the city, including 255.20. We re-engineered the definition of sole source versus single source, updated where we're actually publishing our solicitations, which is on the Palm Beach County website, not in the newspaper anymore. Everything runs through the procurement director. And all solicitations will now be open publicly to provide further transparency to everyone, and also added the definition of a BAFO or best and final offer, just basically best practices and some things that really didn't belong there in regards to the FDOT provisions that wouldn't be applicable unless there was FDOT dollars to spend.
So it's very important that you guys understand that the tolerance levels, the commission approval limits did not change. You still have the 50,000, the 200,000. Everything stayed the same. It's really just the definitions, like I said, and really giving us more tools in the toolbox when it comes to what we need to do to operate as a city. The red line edits have been included as part of the agenda package. And I just want to note that this is just a Band-Aid right now, as we currently want to propose to you guys to get a codified procurement code, which will be read through ordinance. So that's 2 readings, and we want you to be a part of that. So that. So basically, what do we want to do? We want to rewrite the procurement code and the policy. So we want to start with a workshop with everyone, with you guys here, with our commission, our mayor, and our vice mayor. We want to basically start from scratch and create our new procurement code. The code will be codified through a future ordinance, as I stated before. And then the procurement code, once codified, is easily accessible to the public, providing further transparency on our procurement process within the city. So we want to take the policy and have those separate from the code, basically. So what do we have? We have our workshop and our action plan. Basically, we aim to have the workshop to discuss the procurement code, and we'd like to do that in the month of March, which happens to coincide with procurement month, and then present a draft to the commission sometime in April, and bring back the final ordinance for codification in May through two readings. So we're looking for creative solutions input from our city commission. We want you guys to be part of this process. It's very important to us that you guys have, your say in regards to what we put into our procurement code. Because, as you know, this will be our Bible basically moving forward. And this is going to drive everything. So we'd like to brainstorm some ideas. And we'd like to review some procurement codes from surrounding cities. I've already been kind of putting those together with help from legal, and review other exemptions that follow best practice. Also, we're going to take the P3 and incorporate that into the procurement code. And there's a couple other things in the code that are kind of out of place and need to kind of be brought in my opinion, as best practice. So we're going to separate the code from internal procurement policies, like I already stated. So I just want to give everybody a minute to kind of see how to be part of our solicitations, from our public and everything. Basically, if you guys want to be part of any of our upcoming solicitations, all you're going to have to do is you're going to go to boynton-beach.org, and you're going to click on How Do I, and then register, and it's going to take you right to the vendor page where you can register to become a vendor. So we definitely look forward to anybody who would be interested in our upcoming solicitations. We have a lot of them coming up in the next few months. I'm just going to take a second and read them because there's quite a few. We have the Oceanfront concessionaire RFP, the Southeast 1st Street improvements, the Fire Station 2 refurbishment hardening, the citywide vending machine, the Heart of Boynton, the SCADA system programming, the Rolling Green Tower, Oyer Park Fireboat lift installation, larger painting projects, schoolhouse, children's museum structural repairs, and the public art master plan, and the tennis RFP, just to name a few. So those are going to be upcoming. I just wanted to give everybody in the audience an opportunity to see how to become a vendor. So my contact information is on the screen. Anyone wants to reach out to me, they can feel free. Whether it be my email or my work number, I'm always here to help. I'm always here to help vendors find answers to the solicitations. Like I said, we have a lot of them coming up, and we're gonna hit the ground running with these, and we're gonna have a lot of these out. So we plan to get prepared because there's gonna be a lot of awards coming back to you guys, for all the procurements that we're going to do. And with that, does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much, Andrew, for your presentation. In terms of the timeline, you had a slide about the timeline. There was a March. I just wanted to make sure that you were aware that there will be a change in the position of mayor. And I would just recommend that you have that after that change has occurred, because what I don't want is, for someone to jump in mid-process and then they'll be behind, and I want to make sure we give them enough time to catch up, and there's going to be a lot of a learning curve there, so.
100%, yeah. I mean,
I think they'll just streamline the process.
absolutely.
Anything else from my colleagues, Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. This was very helpful, and I'm looking forward to the workshop and moving the action plan. And thank you for, making it a little bit more efficient and making sense. And I think that it's been kind of a mishmash for a while, so it's nice to see the changes being put in place. My only question per se was having to do with registering to become a vendor. What are we doing as a city to push that information as far as, I know we have a ton of projects coming up. You listed off probably only half of them, if not a quarter of them. What are we doing to make sure that that word is getting out, whether it be through economic development, whether that be through even our, we have some town halls. I know Commissioner Hay has meetings once a month in his district. So what are some things, and it might just be that we continue to have this conversation on how to get the word out so that we are prioritizing our residents who have small businesses to get registered and know this is out there, and that's the best way to make sure that they are prioritized in our projects that are coming up.
So in my previous city that I worked for in North Lauderdale, where I was the purchasing contracts manager, they would post it on their Facebook. I mean, that's an idea. I think that's more social media, the role of social media. But we do put everything out on our e-procurement platform, which is Bids and Tenders, as well as Demand Star as well. So people are aware, but when it comes to local, like I said, if people are following like on the Twitter or Facebook or whatever it may be, we can blast it out if that's the direction of the mayor and commission.
Yeah, I think that any way that we can push it out there to make sure that we're prioritizing we have our economic development team is amazing at pushing that forward and knowing what's coming up, and they know what businesses are out there. And I think it really just becomes just knowledge and getting the word out so that, even city staff knows what's coming up. So because economic development may not know what you have going on or that you're looking for businesses in X, Y, and Z, but they just spoke to a business who makes brochures, for instance, and that was, so I think that there's a way that we can really, as a city, with staff and really push it out there that we prefer to really hire local and our residents whenever possible. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anything else for Andrew? All right, nothing else. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 10C, this is the year-end red light camera presentation, and we have our police chief. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Joe DiGilio, Chief of Police. So what we have here today is our red light camera annual report, fiscal year 23-24. And if you're thinking, why haven't I seen this before? Because this is the first time that we're actually required to do so. Last year, early part of 2024, Governor DeSantis signed House Bill 1363. And the purpose is for us to do a detailed annual report of our notice of violations. Part of the purpose also is to have proper transparency and reporting requirements, ensuring the program in place is to promote public safety. So this next slide you see, there's a lot of data on the slide. And there's two slides like this. We have 15 locations in the city of Boynton Beach, so each slide represents a specific location. And if there's any specific location you want to talk about and drill deeper into the numbers, we can certainly talk about it. But just for the purposes of understanding what the numbers actually represent, I'll go through the first one, which was site BB01, which is our northbound South Federal Highway at Southeast 23rd. In 2021, we had 5,623 notices of violations issued. The number to the right of that is the traffic volume. So we had 1.8 million vehicles going through that specific light. In fiscal year 2022-23, we had an increase, slight increase in violations, up by 300. So we have 5,964 violations. But what we do see is a huge increase in traffic volume. So it went from 1.8 million vehicles to 4.1 million vehicles. So while the notices of violations have increased at that location, the traffic volume has tripled. And then looking at the past year, 2023, 2024, we had 5,836 notice of violations, which is a reduction from the year prior. And our traffic volume increased by 200,000. So we went from 4.1 million to 4.3 million. Is there any specific location you guys would like to look at further? No? This is the other set. Like I said, we have 15 red light camera locations in the city. If there's any locations on this slide you'd like to take a look at it, we can go further into the numbers. Once again, this is our overview of all the locations that we have red light cameras. Some locations have 2 cameras. We have some that have 1, others that have it on each direction. And this is an overview of the crashes. As you see, the crashes, depending on the location, go up and go down. The one thing to take in consideration is our traffic volume goes up. So while we may have an increase in crashes, we usually have a correlating increase in traffic volume. So if you look down to the total crashes, you'll see in 2022, we had 150 total crashes. But we also had a very low number of our traffic volume. And in our next slide, we go into the total numbers of it, but we do have a large reduction, as you see with the total numbers, is even though we went from 128 to 143, we had an increase of 1.1 million vehicles from 2022 to 2023. And from the first column, we actually went up 30 million vehicles, even seeing a reduction of traffic crashes. And it's important to note is the Palm Beach Post does a annual top 15, top 20 locations, accident-prone locations in the county. We only have one intersection that's on that county list, which is Boynton Beach Boulevard and Congress. But we also have 8.5 million vehicles going through that intersection as well. And that's only calculating vehicles in 2 different directions. And here's our overview. And like I mentioned, if you look to the bottom row, we went from 28 million to 58 million vehicles from our 2021 to our 2023. Crazy. So we doubled our traffic volume. We also saw a reduction of crashes from 2021 to last year. And if you look at our notice of violations and our uniform traffic citations, they basically have remained somewhat constant throughout the past 3 years of evaluating it. So it looks like we're having a higher traffic volume, but we're seeing a reduction in crashes at the same time as seeing the same level to a lower level of notice of violations. So we have more vehicles in our city, therefore we have what we would like to think voluntary compliance to the red lights. I also added a column later on, I apologize, it's not on this slide, but I also calculated the fatalities, traffic fatalities in the city in its entirety. And in 2021, we had 11. Last year, we had 6. This is just an overview of the process and how it works. Vera Mobility originally gets the notice of violation, identifies that the violation was within our business rules. They bring it back down to the Boynton Beach Police Department through an inbox, and we have Boynton Beach police officers or public safety aides reviewing it to make sure that the violation is in fact a violation. Then they will issue the notice of violation. So the Boynton Beach Police Department issues the notice of violation and not the vendor. And a little bit about the process. Like I mentioned, if the reviewing officer determines there's no violation, no further actions taken. If there is a violation, it's a $158 fine. The offender has 60 days to pay the fine or schedule a local hearing with the city of Boynton Beach. If the citation's not paid, that's when it goes to the Uniform Traffic Citation, the UTC, which is why we do separate from notice of violations to UTC. So what are the funds used for? The first thing we do use, we have to pay our vendor for the equipment rental at the locations, which is roughly $1 million. We have to pay for the magistrate for our red light carrying hearings. We pay for our traffic unit officers, our public safety aides, our school crossing guards, our traffic safety equipment and software. So we all see the signboards out there about slowing down or speed signs. We use the funds from the red light camera program to fund those type of items. And also our license plate readers, which, as you all know, is not just a great traffic tool, but it's also a great crime fighting tool as well. The total revenue generated from the red light camera last year was $2.7 million. The budget that it basically feeds and supports is $3.3 million. So it supports the entire function, almost the entire function of the traffic safety program, to include the officer's salaries, the pension contributions, the medical benefits, once again I mentioned the school crossing guards, license plate readers. So it funds the entire traffic safety program, which is why I wanted to bring up the total fatalities through the city, because all these tools allow us not to just focus on those intersections, which is the 15 intersections. It allows us to have the tools and the resources and the officers to do traffic enforcement throughout the whole city. And we also use the traffic cameras, the red light cameras, as investigative tools. In 2023, we used it multiple times to identify suspects in homicides and robberies. I gave you a couple examples. February 2023, the footage was used for a vehicle used in an armed robbery. In March of that same year, used to identify the suspect vehicle used in a shooting. In September 2023, identified suspect vehicle used in homicide. In July 2024, camera footage identified suspect vehicle used in a shooting. Also captured an additional suspect vehicle chasing the victim prior to the shooting. And lastly, camera footage also has been requested by other agencies to help support their investigations as well. And this was something that was mentioned, I believe, in the agenda reviews about the citizens of Boynton, and are they the ones that are getting the citations? This is an overview of who gets the citations. And as you see, 30% are from Boynton Beach. However, they can't parse out whether it's City of Boynton Beach or unincorporated Boynton Beach. So this is a combination of both. And being that the county unincorporated area is larger than the City of Boynton Beach, we can conservatively say we can split that 50-50, and it looks like 15% of our city residents are the ones receiving the citations. Also, we mentioned before about our return offenders. Only 9% get a second citation, and only 2.5% get a third citation. Another thing that was mentioned in the agenda review is we are the only one in Palm Beach County that has a red light camera program. But these are all the agencies in the state of Florida that currently have a red light camera program. 21 are in Broward and Miami, while the rest are throughout the state. And that will conclude my presentation.
All right, thank you, Chief. Any questions for the chief while he's up here? Anything on my right, left?
Chief, your department getting any feedback from the community about red light cameras at all?
Usually the feedback we get are from the individuals who receive the citations, so it's usually nothing positive in that regards. But generally speaking, we don't get a lot of pushback on the red light cameras than the typical pushback. But I don't really see it to be overwhelming. I think when people do get citations, and I would feel the same way. But we do have a process. We have a red light camera hearing. They can go to the court. They can speak to a magistrate in Delray. So there is due process when it comes to dealing with those type of citations. But if you're thinking about if we get any additional pushback, generally speaking, about the program itself, it's very minimal.
Is there how can I put it? Are there any plans to expand or reduce the red light cameras based on the community concern or the effectiveness of those cameras that you can share with us?
So in 2022, there was a plan that was approved by the commission at the time to add an additional 6 cameras. Obviously, we're in 2025, and we're still waiting for those cameras to come online, but there is no conversations about any additional cameras after those additional 6 get implemented. And this contract expires May of 2026, and part of the new House bill is when we do want to renew the contract or have a conversation, we have to bring it out into a public meeting. So we can have that conversation next year.
So just for information purposes, there's no sunset date for red light cameras there. Is there an optimum, I'm not sure what I'm asking, but number of cameras that we are looking to have in our city? Is there, I mean, are we looking to just implement these 6 when they come in and then another year do another 6? Or is there some breaking point, or what's the plan?
There is no plan to add any additional red light cameras outside of the ones that have already been approved in 2022. The intersections that we have, we still believe they're viable intersections. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of traffic going through those intersections. There is a reduction of crashes. The big thing about it is that while crashes do occur, the red light camera program is, if you think about it, is really to reduce the fatal crashes. The most dangerous crash you could ever get into is a lateral T-bone crash, which is usually when someone runs a red light. So while crash numbers are still there, our fatalities are being reduced. And that's kind of the goal. The goal is to reduce those fatalities and the serious bodily injury crashes. If there's a location that we feel that there isn't a lot of traffic volume and it's not a viable location, we can have an additional conversation about removing those. But we have a contract with Vera, and it's in effect until next year, 2026. So the camera locations are the camera locations.
So you select the camera location by the number of incidents or accidents you have there? Or?
There's a combination, right? So we'll look at accident-prone locations, high volume of crashes. All this stuff is readily available through the Department of HSMV, Highway Safety Motor Vehicle. Also is that they do their own traffic study and survey. The same thing with our school zone cameras. They go out there and do a needs analysis and see what locations do need that. If they don't believe that locations do need it, they anticipate how many people would run the red light or how many people would speed when it comes to the school zone. It's not a location that they would advocate for.
So have these cameras been operating pretty good? They've been kept to a minimum when it comes to maintenance?
Yeah, the Vera Mobility, the vendor, or any vendor is responsible for the maintenance. If there are any issues with it, the cameras, they go dark until they get fixed. They're really good at making sure that there are no maintenance issues and they're constantly up to date. I mean, obviously, if a camera goes out, they would have a vested interest in getting the cameras back up as the vendor. And it's something that would be immediately reported and corrected. We don't have any issues with the maintenance or any type of malfunctioning.
Very good. Thanks, Chief.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor?
I just had one. I am just shocked at the number of traffic increase in the volume in every single intersection that is on here. And to think that we're able to still see a reduction in red light camera tickets, but also in crashes. I think that it shows that this program is working. We doubled our traffic volume in a year. So to just know, we know how many people have come into South Florida and seeing that, we're able to still keep the crashes down and keep the fatalities down to a very low number. I feel like it's doing what it was intended purpose was many years ago when it was first brought in. And I know, Chief, you're not gonna know this, and this is something that you can just tell me later on off the record, but I would like to know, since And it's going to be kind of a fluid thing because the volume has changed significantly, even in a year. But how have the numbers really changed from let's say the first 5 years in comparison to now, as far as these intersection crashes and, and more so the crashes, because I think that by having the red light camera program, it has decreased crashes. So, but I know that all that data exists somewhere. So I would like to just see it, just so I know for my own personal edification that how that compares over the years. But also, Chief, what are some things, so we see the traffic crashes, we see the data from the volume. How do you, and in particular the traffic unit, utilize these numbers and figures to know how to address some issues that we are having within the city when it comes to traffic and the volume?
So I want to make sure I got your question. You want to know, based on our increase in traffic volume as well as the violations at the intersection, what are we doing as a traffic unit to keep the roadways safe?
Well, so we see the data, we see we see it's working. How do you, as the police department, utilize this data in your everyday to figure out what to address next? Or if you do at all? I mean, I would hope that this data that we're collecting is not just going, it comes on fancy charts, but that it's being utilized in some way by the police department.
So that now I get your question, and it's a great question. We do use a lot of data to determine what our enforcement patterns will be, whether it's criminal enforcement or it's traffic-related enforcement. We do generate a lot of our director patrols based on complaints. So if someone has an issue with a stop sign or speeding, we do address that. But we also let the data speak too. So we know that Boynton Beach Boulevard and Congress is a large intersection with multiple lanes. So we try to do our high visibility enforcement, even if it's not red light camera, but to do just to show that extra presence out there. So we allow the data to let us know where we should be putting most of our cars. Also is the high volume in certain locations. Like, I'll give you an example, like Southeast 23rd and Federal. Like, that's not a large intersection, but the traffic volume is insane. And part of one of the reasons why there's a lot of red light running is that people are driving way too fast and they don't have enough stopping time to stop for the light. So we try to do traffic speed enforcement further down the road to slow the vehicles down or just be visible. So we're trying to use the data to somewhat forecast additional issues, because we don't want the crashes. Our whole goal is to reduce the crashes, reduce the serious bodily injuries, reduce the fatalities.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we're not just collecting this data and that it goes to good use, because, you were just talking about Southeast 23rd and Federal. It's at four times the amount is the traffic volume that is going through that intersection now as opposed to 2 years ago. So the volume is just, it's increased insanely. So
Right.
I'm glad that we're using the data, and thank you for giving us this update. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the chief? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is 10D, Quarterly CIP Update. And we have a staff presentation for this as well.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Deputy City Manager. Rick Hoffer, Assistant Director of Public Works. This is a Public Works CIP update for first quarter 24-25. Wanted to start with presentation of CIP budget information, followed by status of select CIP projects. Amended CIP budget for Fund 302 is $19.4 million. For Fund 303 is $8.9 million. Fund 302, funding by department, is 3.1 million for general governmental, 4.9 million for recreation and parks, $4.9 million for public safety, and 6.5 million for transportation. Fund 303 funding by department is $655K for general governmental, 2.9 million for recreation and parks, 1.8 million for public safety, 154K for IT, and 3.4 million for transportation. And looking at the combined funds 302 and 303, transportation is the highest funding amount, followed by recreation and parks, public safety, general governmental, then IT. Total for the combined funds is $23.8 million and consists of over 120 projects. So quite a few projects out there. Going into updates of select projects, just starting with Chapel Hill entrance to Southwest 23rd Avenue is a paving, striping, traffic flow improvements project. It is complete at a construction cost of $87K. And I included some photos here reflecting paving, striping, and traffic flow improvements of this intersection here. Going to the Gulfview Harbor Streets resurfacing project. This is a road preservation project using Reclamite, which is a road rejuvenator sealer product to give the road more longevity. This project is also complete at a construction cost of $24K. The image and table reflected here reflect the roads that have been sealed as part of this project and treated as part of this project. Moving on to the Hester concession building is a new concession, storage, and restroom facility. It's adjacent to the new football field and the grandstand. It is also complete at a construction cost of $414K. Photos are of construction progress and of the completed exterior of the facility. Moving on to neighborhood road resurfacing, Meadows, Gulfview Harbor, and Citrus Park Lane. This project involved road-based repairs, asphalt resurfacing, pavement markings, and signage. Also included raised pedestrian crosswalks and traffic calming features. Also complete at a construction cost of $845K. Oceanfront concession building remodel is interior and exterior remodeling of the concession building. Included new doors and windows. Project has been completed at a construction cost of $112K. Pictures are of the interior before and after interior shot, as well as a completed exterior shot. Denson pool heaters is replacement of existing pool heaters. This project is in the construction phase, has a construction cost estimate of $85K, and anticipated that the project will be completed by the end of the month. Hester Park Airnasium is construction of a new airnasium for basketball courts. The scope also included resurfacing of the basketball courts and new lighting. Bid opening was last week on this project. Going into the Cultural Center auditorium involves stage, audiovisual, and lighting improvements. Also included, there's a lot of other improvements, including audio, digital, video screens, stage lighting, curtain system improvements, public address system, window shades, acoustical treatments. It is in the procurement construction stage. Estimated construction cost is $1.4 million. And anticipated start of construction is April 2025. Going to the Centennial Park, landscape replacement. This is a design-build project for replacement of landscaping. It is in the planning stage and has an estimated cost of $800K, and anticipated notice to proceed is next month. Southeast First Street is construction of a shared use path, sidewalk, roadway, and drainage improvements. It involves a LAP grant in the amount of $1.5 million, so that's a good thing. It's in the procurement construction stage and has a $5.4 million estimated construction cost. And anticipated start construction is April 2025. Going on to Pioneer Park, boat ramp. This is reconfiguration of existing boat ramps and docks. Has a couple grants, one in $819K, $819K, and also a $109,000 grant. It is in the procurement construction stage, and construction cost is $1 million as an estimate, and anticipated start construction is in May. For Fire Station 2 hardening, this is hardening of Fire Station number 2 to mitigate wind damage. Project includes replacing 8 overhead roll-up doors with 8 4-fold doors for quicker actuation so the fire trucks can get out quicker. Strapping down HVAC equipment, new exterior lighting. Also has a grant in the amount of $572,000. Has a construction cost estimate of $550K. And start construction is estimated to be May 2025. Moving to the Oyer Park Fire Department boat dock and lift. This is installation of electric boat lifts for both the fire department and the police department. It has also a grant in the amount of $109,000 as well. It is in the construction procurement stage, has a construction cost estimate of $220K and an anticipated start construction of May 2025. Southeast 36th Avenue, Gulfstream Boulevard Road Rehab is roadway, landscape, lighting, and drainage improvements. It is a joint project with Delray Beach. There's also a water main, a new water main, as part of the project to service the town of Gulfstream, just as a note. It is in the procurement construction stage, has a construction cost estimate of $3.2 million and a anticipated start construction of May 2025. Sarah Sims Cemetery Expansion Project is cemetery expansion. It's to provide 1,000 additional plots and includes traffic circulation improvements. Currently in the design stage, construction cost estimate of $325K, and anticipated construction start date of June 2025, and completion estimated as November 2025. Pence Park reconstruction includes new football, soccer fields, and basketball courts, as well as new pavilions and parking. Is currently in the design phase, and design complete is to be determined at this point in time. Going into the Mangrove Park boardwalk removal. Involves the removal of the Mangrove Park Boardwalk. Currently in the planning phase. Has a construction cost estimate of $750K. An anticipated notice to proceed is next month. Harvey Oyer Junior Park pier replacement. Involves replacement of the pier, including beach and kayak launch, so some new features there. It is in the design phase. Concept completion, design completion is anticipated next month. I'm going into a road beautification project, Lawrence Road. It involves an improved landscape, islands, addition of irrigation, and improvements to traffic patterns. This project is in the planning stage, and estimated design start is March. J.C. Park Master Plan Play Structure. It's a master plan of the park, including replacement of the play structure, and expansion of parking lot. This is in the planning stage with design anticipated start in March. Going into Sandcastle is update of drainage, utilities, and road improvements. This has quite a large grant associated with it too, $16.5 million. Is in the planning phase, has a construction budget of $17.6 million, and estimated start construction is April 2026. Marine complex. This is a new marine complex for fire and police departments, so for both departments. It's in Oyer Park, and it's to support new marine operations, the boat lifts that will be out there for both police and fire departments and associate staff that is needed for those operations. It is in the planning phase with anticipated start design in March. And lastly is Fire Station 3. It's a new fire station. It has a estimated start design. It's actually in the planning stage right now with an estimated start design in May 2025. Questions on any of that?
All right, thank you so much for that presentation. Who would like to go first? Commissioner, are you ready?
Sure, thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Mayor. No, thank you so much for presenting this. It's good for us to know what's getting done, what's underway, and then also so the public can see for those who are watching at home and in here. Real quick for the Gulfstream project, I was talking to a neighbor this past weekend, and they were asking they know that we split the road between Delray and us, but who maintains the median? Who's responsible for that? I sent an email earlier, I think today or yesterday, so I don't know, is it us or Delray, or do we have a joint contract?
You sent it today. We maintain it right now, but once this is done, there'll be an ILA to separate that median. There'll be a cost share on that median as well. But for now, Boynton is doing that.
And is that median being renovated as well? Are we changing?
Completely wiped out.
Okay, perfect, because I know there's some site issues with some of the bushes there.
Yeah, the
People are
water main
having-
goes right through that
Okay.
median, yeah.
Yep, all right, perfect. All right, thank you for that information. The other point is the Pioneer boat ramp, seeing that being almost fully funded by grant money is awesome. I would love to see if we could do the same thing for Harvey Oyer with the pier. I would bet there's a lot of grants, outside of just the scope of the pier and it being recreational, but environmentally too. I think there's some things that we could look at to get some environmental grants for that. And then for J.C. Park, for renovating the playground, I did receive some feedback about was it bocce ball courts there? Is there a way to get that shaded? A lot of the senior residents that use that are concerned with the heat. And I know, I see the air nasium, in District 2. Is there something that we could do at a smaller scale before we get underway with that project to provide shade for those senior residents that utilize those courts?
That's definitely something we could look into. It may not be this fiscal year, but maybe
Sure.
we'll plan for next fiscal year. We're working on capital right now for starting the capital discussion, so we'll make sure that Kevin and them include that in it.
Yeah, just if there's a way before we get started, instead of being halfway in, doing a change order, then coming back, there might be an opportunity there. Or even if it's something temporarily, provide some shade. And, yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Anything else? Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Real quick, piggyback on Commissioner Turkin. Solar shade, I think that might be a way. If I know that there are some trees in the area, it might not be a prime solar, but if we can partner with FP&L or somebody else to kill two birds, then I always like trying to get our community partners involved where we can, and so that might be a mechanism where it provides shade, but also contributes to the solar field. So let's just, I'm throwing it out there, but I love to see this. I think this presentation should be part of our a regular thing for us and for the community, just like Commissioner Turkin said, because it's hard to grasp everything that is going on in the city, and sometimes, based on our districts, we know maybe what's going on in our district, but I don't necessarily know what projects are going on in District 1 or District 3 or District 2 unless I ask, or unless we see a presentation like this. So I'm excited about it, and I'm just glad to see everything moving forward and having deadlines. And on public safety, I was speaking to someone recently, and there is a lot of funding or a lot of opportunities on the federal level for public safety. And so I just want to make sure that we're definitely throwing, all of our hats in every bucket that we possibly can for grant money, especially on the public safety projects, because I think those more so than parks or streetscape or paving or things like that, they're a little bit easier for the government to embrace throwing money at public safety. So just throwing that out there to make sure that we're staying on top of grant opportunities and funding that's available for these projects. And I'm excited to see how these progress throughout the rest of the fiscal year. So thank you.
Great, sounds good. The intention is for this to be quarterly, so just as a
Perfect.
All right, thank you so much, everybody. Commissioner Hay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Your mic.
Turn the mic on. Going back to the bill to make football field, we have the concession stand that we just completed and everything.
Hester?
Right in front of that is an area. Right now, if there's a little slight rain, people start running, there's no place to go. I think I talked to Deputy City Manager about that before, that we could cover that with some type of pavilion. Doesn't have to be anything that we spend $2 million on, but just to cover that area. Can we put that down on the list to be looked at in the future? Okay, if not now. Okay, I see a nod in my head there. Okay. Also, the park that we were talking about, Centennial Park out here, we're going to replace the grass. Are we putting artificial turf or what? You mentioned $800,000, I believe it was. What are we replacing?
We're going to replace the project scope is to replace the grass with turf.
We are going to replace it with turf?
Yes, that's project scope.
Okay, because right now when we have an event out there, the crowd just that grass is destroyed, and it takes a minute to grow back. But now the turf that we're talking about putting in is will take the punishment? I guess like the football field, huh?
It's definitely a different style of turf that we're proposing to put in the Centennial Park. It's more meant for that application, not for athletics. So it drains better. There's a lot of different features, but it's something that we're under the design right now, so we don't have a finalized design, but that's something that'll come back to you for an award.
Okay. Going to the Sarah Sims Cemetery, we talking about expanding that and gaining an additional 1,000 plots there, I believe.
Correct, yes.
Are there any plans to go beyond that? I think we're going to the other side of the street there where they come in through the back on the south side. Are we going to end it there, or are we looking at the property that's in front of St. John, Missionary Baptist Church?
This current phase, we did not anticipate going past our current boundaries for the construction. I think we will be looking at additional locations for future cemeteries. I think that was the direction before from the commission, was to maybe look at some additional properties where we could, even if it was out west, outside the city limits. So that was something that we're still working towards. This was a quicker fix to get the plots available for our residents.
In addition to looking out west, are we still looking at north of Galaxy, that area, where the playground, the ball field is there and all that?
It's still one of the locations that we're vetting. It's not one that the commission has not given us direction. We still need to bring that back down the road to get some future direction.
Okay. Last thing, looking at the marina, we're talking about the police and the fire department, I believe, is putting that.
Correct.
Is that what they're gonna, How is that going to impact the parking there? Because that's, it's already kind of limited. So what's the impact?
I believe there's a few boat slips that will get reconfigured there, but I think it's a net. I think we're gaining some in other places to offset any net loss there. And we do have plans in the future to relook at the entire park, to look at the master plan to see if we can maximize all the parking there, because there is some definitely some efficiencies that could be had there from what it used to be. So that's definitely something that we're looking at.
Very good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Anything else, Commissioner?
Nope,
Commissioner Perkins?
just on the topic of turf, so we have the field that's turf. We're looking at turfing Centennial Park, so I think it's fair for residents to be able to put turf into their own properties. And so I just that hasn't been brought back up, so I just want to give a friendly reminder to staff. If the city's doing it, then the residents shouldn't be punished for doing that, or at the very least, this topic of conversation should be brought back before us again. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues on the right? Nothing? All right, that concludes that item. Thank you so much, Rick.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We only have one more item for discussion this evening. This was the item that I requested. This is about a beautification task force. I just wanted to put the idea on the table if that's something that my colleagues would be amenable to. I just want to make sure that although we have a beautification and cleanliness plan that's been produced by staff, I want to make sure that the public can also partake in gathering more ideas and shaping long-term planning as well. It doesn't mean that it's the final copy, it just means that they have a role to play. And also, we still need to develop long-term standards for beautification. And I know staff is working on that as well. So I think the combination of resident-driven input as well as staff-driven, some of the best ideas will come from the melding of those two. I'm not imagining anything overly structured in terms of this task force, I'm calling it. It's just my recommendation as a task force. So they have a little bit more leeway and freedom, and it's very focused on the item at hand, and it doesn't have to be a perpetual committee. But I'm open to it. I'm open to any variation, your thoughts from my colleagues, and I'll take your input.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me too.
Yeah, I would just recommend that legal or staff find out how the parameters would work and timing, because I know you said it wouldn't be something permanent that we would, or, look at permanently, but, what are our options as far as wording and scope and, so we can start that discussion on moving that.
Great point, Vice Mayor. Council, is that something that could be done relatively quickly by the next meeting?
depending on the scope of it, it sounds like you might be creating an advisory board. And if that's the case, then you may need an ordinance. So
So-
it's certainly something that legal will look into.
Yeah, personally, I would shy away from making it a long-term advisory board because the goal is very specific, and that is to get input and ideas and refining the beautification and cleanliness plan. If that is something that my colleagues would rather do and making it a permanent advisory board, that is the will of the majority. But I think something more like a committee or a task force is the direction I'm leaning towards. But I'm open to whatever format.
I'm open to it, but at the same time, as we change, the city's always gonna be changing, and we're always gonna potentially have opportunities for improvement. So I don't have any opposition of making it a longer term item. Or maybe, I'm open to either way, but I think that, I think everything we do would be a continuous process. And if we did need an ordinance, I would support bringing that to the next meeting for reading, or I don't know if it would be a resolution if it's not a long-term item.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I had brought up the board, I think like a few months ago after you had the idea of the beautification team. And so I don't know why that wasn't brought back for the discussion. So thank you, Mayor, for bringing this back up. I think a board would be good. That way there's structure and there's accountability, and, we're really caring about doing this. Or if we didn't want something as structured, monthly workshops, monthly inputs that staff and residents are participating in. So this isn't just, hey, let's do this, let's create this task force, and then, things fall off and it goes by the wayside, and 6 months down the road, where we're at now, talking about this again. So I'm indifferent. I'm okay with a board. I'm okay with maybe something that does have structure. That way we hold staff accountable, hold the residents accountable, and us accountable to make sure that we execute what we're trying to do here.
All right, sounds good. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yes, I'm not totally in favor of another board. We have enough problem trying to fill the boards that we have now. I think we can do this, as you originally suggested, as a task force and get it done. We have other boards that we could probably give them something to do. But I think we have enough boards, and with the challenge that we have in Boynton of filling these boards, I don't want to have another empty board. So let's go ahead and get the task done. Let that be the priority rather than forming another board.
We could always take a hybrid approach. We could start off with a task force or a committee, whatever we're calling it exactly, and then if there's consistent and committed volunteers, then should
Then we move in
this
that
board
direction.
proceed? Yes.
I can go along with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good compromise.
Yep.
I'd like to begin this as soon as possible because we do already have a draft plan from staff. There's already something for them to look at and provide input. Now, Council, what do you think? Let me turn to you. You have any suggestions?
So what I would do is I'd meet with the city manager or the assistant city manager to come up with a framework, whether they want to do a monthly task force nominating, if that's just going to be with the committee or with certain people, and then bring a resolution to the commission establishing that task force.
Okay. Any thoughts, questions?
I think what we need to do is meet with you guys individually and just to get your thoughts on what you'd like to see. And then we could obviously run through legal and we could bring back something. So I think one-on-one meetings with the commission is probably the best idea.
Yep, that's pretty much it for me. I mean, that's.
I'll just say I'll defer to, since you brought it up, I'll defer to what you prefer to do. I don't have any additional feedback going forward, and I do appreciate the individual meeting, but I don't have any further opinions about this.
I
I'm
actually
okay with
don't have much either myself. I just want to keep it simple, get a group going to look at the plan. What are some improvements that we can make? What are some things we look forward to down the road? Get their ideas. That's pretty much it. Yep.
Well, and to
But
piggyback
I'm
on
happy
that,
to,
Mayor.
yes, but
Yeah, well, and I think that we can also utilize this task force to promote for instance, our Adopt the Road program, or
Yes.
to promote certain things, you know, that we have going on, or different beautification or cleanups or whatever. So I kind of envision it not necessarily as just a task force to figure out what we haven't thought about or things that we, you know, are missing or need to be changed, but also what we can do to get the word out. We have a beautification team, but the more eyes and ears and boots we have on the ground, you know, pushing this beautification plan forward, I think it's a positive.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, my kind of, as you're talking about it, you know, my kind of vision would be, even the scope would be more even pushing and promoting the beautification and seeing what, you know, what ideas the public might have to our beautification team on areas to add next, or what we need to address. So it might end up, I feel like it might end up becoming a long-term thing. Maybe it can start out as, you know, looking at the plan, what are we missing, what are we not missing, how can we promote our Adopt the Road program, how can we, what are certain things we can address, what are some quick and easy things that, and just to be eyes and ears, you know, of the community. And, you know, there's tires on the side of the road, or there's a mattress on the side of the road, or, you know, because we, as a board, and even as the city staff, we only see so many things, we only drive on so many roads a day. And so to have just more people being aware and being on top of beautifying the city, I think is a positive. So those are my thoughts.
Couldn't agree more. All of those are only going to help, right? Absolutely. Anybody else have any input in the meantime? So what I'm hearing is, you know, we can have meetings with the city manager, and the city manager, you guys can draft some scope and some language. And then after you do that, you can put out an application online, like how people apply for advisory boards. And if anyone wants to volunteer, there you go. Okay?
Understood.
Okay. Anything else from my colleagues on this? Pretty straightforward?
Perfect.
And council, with that being said, does that still need to come back in the form of a resolution after that scope has been made?
In my opinion, if you're appointing a task force, yes, it's something that should be
Okay.
put into formalized.
Sounds good. All right. All right, with that, if there's nothing else from my colleagues, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
We have a
Second.
motion, and a second came from Commissioner Hay. All right, have a good night. It's adjourned. I was about to call for a vote, but there's no point. It's have a good night. Thank you, everybody. Exactly.